7 o'clock, we'll, thank you. You exactly. I appreciate that. Let me just tell you a little story. My computer is mega hurting. I don't know what the clock speed is, but I need to replace it. And so I appreciate anybody doing any background processing on my behalf so that I can at least, lead the meeting. So thank you all. Welcome to the October W7PRA Peak Radio Association meeting. I am Paul Anzero VLR, chair of the board. And why don't we start with some introductions? Looks like there's not a whole lot of people new here, but if you have anything.
Speaking of megahertz.
Yeah, speaking of mega. I think it was expending too many calories and wanted to go on a quick diet.
Oh, he's really frozen.
It's me.
There you go.
All right, there we go. Olin, let's try you again because I didn't hear anything.
Well, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm good.
All right. Next up is Anna.
I'm Annalise McDermott, NH6Z in metropolitan Austin, Texas tonight.
Oh, see, there's something new. Okay. How about Ted, Snappy Dresser?
I'm Ted, W7RTM in the suburbs of Philomath, a few weeks.
Okay. Mr. Sir Shelby.
Oh,
You've been knighted.
thank you. This is Mike W7RIS, about 10 miles north of Corvallis, just off of Highway 99.
Okay, and Paul B.
Paul Branchfield, W7PEB, and I'm still between Winston and Roseburg out on Happy Valley Road.
Good to have you here, Paul, and everybody else so far. Tyler, how about you?
Ty Parsons, WB7DD. I'm about 1 mile south of downtown Corvallis.
Okay, very good. Good to have everybody here tonight. Anthony.
Anthony, KE7OSN in rural Marion County.
Okay, so Anthony, that background needs some explanation. I'm not going to let you get away with it.
So it is the NASA image of the day, which was the Dragon capsule that splashed down, I believe on Friday.
And it looks like the Loch Ness Monster is right behind it.
I believe that's the rescue diver that's having fun.
In motion. Sweet. Mr. Drew, you are up.
Drew Terrell out of Albany, W3HES.
All right, looks like we got some more. Hey, okay, and Scott, looks like you're in the ham version of Frankenstein's lab back there.
Well, this is the only meeting before Halloween, so I got to do something dramatic. So I'll put the overhead lights in a sec. So yeah, Scott here, KF7GGN in Corvallis. I don't see any of my neighbors on, so. But
Okay,
Olin's
very
there.
good.
Hi, Olin's a couple of blocks away from me.
Yep, and Ron.
Yep, Ron AE4JL in Millersburg, and sorry I'm late, but work is that way.
Oh, sure. Okay, I can vouch for him. Sure. Okay, great. So I'm going to try to, so not today, but I'm just letting you know, I'm going to try to mix up the agenda. I'm going to try to get some of the best practices from other clubs. It's going to take me a little bit to go capture all the agendas and reach out for everybody, but I want to see if there's anything we can change for coming up. See if there's anything we're missing out on, any order in which would be better suited for everybody. And so I'm just going to throw that out there as sort of an intro message. Give me until next meeting to figure that out. If there's any improvements, I will go ahead and make them. If everything is just spiffy and spot on, then we'll just keep it the same. All right. So secretary's report.
Yes, sorry, I drifted off doing this minutes. So I was a little late this year or this month. I had sent the minutes out yesterday morning. So I hope everybody has the opportunity to at least see them. I did get one comment back. Thank you, Paul. Those that error has been repaired. So if you have any other issues, let me know. W7RTM@ARRL.net. Thank you.
Anybody have any comments for Ted, sort of verbally, or are we all pretty much okay with it? Okay. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate your dedication. Treasurer's report. Looks like Andy is not able to attend, or at least not at this moment. I do have an email from him, and it is right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay.
I have it if you need it, Paul.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and read it off, because I only have the old one. I don't have the revised one for some reason.
Okay. Checking is $2,085.83. Savings is $2,476.84. There was no interest earned that was in the email. PayPal has $45.34. There's $12.26 in petty cash, leaving us a total of $4,620.27.
Okay, that matches what I have, and Andy just showed up. Perfect timing, Andy. And I will, Andy, why don't you give us an update on what occurred today, because this is part of the your report as well.
Okay, do I have audio?
You do.
Okay. Yeah, Paul and I went to the bank and we added Paul to the bank account, and we removed Anthony. When we talked, the reason we moved Anthony is because in order to leave him on the account, he would have had to have been there and provide ID and things like that. So that's why he was removed. But we discussed possibly having more than just two of us have access to the bank account, so that we shared as much of the responsibilities as possible, as well as the knowledge of what's involved with the corporate side of our club business. I have felt the need to share as much of the knowledge about the backroom work that goes into the fact that we are a Oregon nonprofit corporation. There's quite a bit of work involved, and I think I should share as much of that as possible so that we're not reliant upon me. And that's about it. The girl was cute at the bank. Anything else to report?
Thank you, Andy. I think that was quite enough. Yes, thank you.
All right.
All in favor? Aye. Yes. So thank you for that. And thank you for taking time out, Andy, to do that. And we met at lunchtime, which was convenient for me, and it all went really smoothly. Anthony, we'll get back to you to see if there's a need, and B, if there's anything else. I mean, frankly, you've got a lot on your plate with other volunteer organizations. I don't want to burden you with anything that isn't necessary. And we'll be gathering up information as far as the corporate knowledge, and I'll bring that up at a later topic. Thank you. All right, let's see, what do we got here? Treasurer's report, old business. So the two things that I had on here for old business in this order were Rick Rial and QSO parties. So does anybody want to talk about Rick Rial? Mike, I think you said you were going. Did you end up going?
Sure did.
Mute.
There we go. Yes, I was there. Several other people in this group were there too. Had a really good time. Looked like attendance was quite good. Was surprised when I pulled into the parking lot. It was quite full. There were still, it's not as busy as it had been before. I've seen it busier. But it was pretty easy to get around on the tables. No dramas there. I seem to see a lot of older radios being sold, and some of them were antiques, some of them were in good shape, some of them were really junky. Lots of parts. I saw lots of parts going on there, and so I mean, also a lot of free stuff. We wanted to go after some free stuff. There was plenty of that stuff to go after. But had a really good time. For me, it's more of a social event. I'll have to say that it took me about 3 hours to make one lap around there. Kept running into people there that either I knew or they knew me, or at least they thought they knew me. But anyway, had a really good time, good lunch afterwards, and there's some other after event things that I got involved with too. So great time.
Nice. Anybody else have any experience to add to the Rick Rial Hamfest?
How was Rick Rial as compared to previous years?
And it depends on how far back you go. I mean, you could walk through the aisles. I remember some years when you could barely walk through the aisles, and that definitely wasn't this year. It was pretty comfortable. I didn't really see the parking lot because I got there early because I had a table. So yeah, it was brisk. I don't think it's as dead as I've seen it a couple years, but it's certainly not the busiest it's ever been either.
Right, the parking lot.
They still take up two buildings or just the one?
One.
Just the one this time.
They didn't have anybody in the back building this year.
Okay.
No, I think it was, I participated in the examination. I don't remember if it was last October or February. But then at that point they had the two buildings, but there used to be the seminars and things like that. They did, of course that's not going on. But yeah, the parking lot was full, but I agree with Anna. It was, it wasn't crowded to the point where you had to kind of squeeze your way through people. Although in some aisles, I think it got that way for a little bit, but they had some good stuff. I got as far, I think Mike mentioned parts, a lot of, for building enthusiasts, there's a lot of stuff for building tube radios or transistor radios, a lot of components if you knew what to look for, things like that. And some nice rigs for sale. I mean, vintage rigs for the most part, and test equipment. I even tried to sell some old test equipment, but that didn't happen. Spike, I can't remember his name, KB17NJ, who's actually not in the club, but he's in Aries. He always has a table there for anybody, either in the club or in Aries to put their stuff down, and I took advantage of that, but nobody was interested. So, which I'm not surprised. Other than that, it was fun. I think it was a good time. Mike, Drew, and I had lunch together, which was nice, and Drew was there for the first time, I think, in a couple of years, which was great. Getting back into the spirit of it. All in all, I think compared to last year's attendance, that the attendance definitely was up this time. So maybe people are starting to get more comfortable coming back, and it'll take a year or two before it goes back up to normal. I just hope that they offer seminars and maybe some.
Well, and I think that March is usually bigger than October is. October's
maybe
smaller
because
than March is. I think that's probably what we're discounting.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing for discounting is that the guys over in High Desert, Central Oregon, a couple of weeks back had a swap meet over there.
Oh.
So that usually significant contingents from the Central Oregon did not participate.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody there from Central Oregon at all.
Did anybody go over to that? I wanted to, but stuff came up.
No, unfortunately.
No, I
No,
mean, they may as well be Idaho over there. Oh, sorry.
So,
They
so
want
I-
to be Idaho, but yeah.
I did have several friends there that did participate in that, both trying to sell stuff and also just wandering the aisles there. It was kind of, I'd say maybe lightly attended, but they really had a bunch of good equipment over there for people that were shopping for newer, better stuff. And so they think that there's enough potential there where that's a meat that can end up continuing to grow and get a little larger. I don't know that it will get as large as what we have over here in the valley, but it'll still take care of their needs. Because the one in March, that's treacherous trying to get across the mountain passes over here for that event. And so that one always becomes an iffy event if they're going to make it here or not, or otherwise they always come over in most of the guys come over in October, but that didn't happen this year.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed was there weren't as many of the corporate stalls. There were 3 or 4 of the big corporate booths that I noticed were just not there.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think
Okay,
you're going
well-
to be seeing the corporate people showing up that much, except for the really big ham fest. Well, I know some of the guys have just they're looking for big easy targets, and you have to work at trying to sell stuff at this event.
Well, it's expensive to send people out. I can tell you that, what we spend to send a crew to get out there. And that's even, we use a lot of volunteers that are local to come out and help us at all the different regional shows. But yeah, I mean, to put us up for a weekend and feed us and everything like that is not cheap. And for Dayton booths are like $500 or $600 a piece.
Okay, good wrap up. Sorry I wasn't able to make it. I was distracted.
Well, that's two
So
demerits,
let's
Paul.
see.
We'll give you a break for next time.
All right, thanks. I'll have to put it on my calendar, but the weather was too nice and well, there.
We're missing.
Do I need to turn the crank on the
all
side?
that just tipped the scales. So, so around and talk about anything that they. So, so parties, anybody have any good experiences or on any of the full QSO party?
In the QSO department?
Owen, you are you being shy?
Who are you talking to?
He's frozen in time.
I think he wants to find out, Owen, if you were active on the in the QSO parties this last 2 weekends.
Oh, well, I missed.
You're having another earthquake in Lebanon?
Yeah.
Oh,
We got
boy.
woke up in the early morning.
Well, if anybody wants to talk about what I normally talk about, I'll do that. I didn't make the big QSO party weekend. I had used my brother-in-law to help me on the house, get ready for the installation of a new front door. I know, no excuse, but a lot of pressure on that. So that got installed. And now I'm going to get it painted. So that's the next thing. So off with that. The QSO party season is about over with. This weekend, I think, was the last of the state QSO parties. So until we start again next year. Coming up is a single sideband CQ Worldwide contest, October 29th and 30th. Runs 48 hours from 0000 UTC Saturday to 23:59 UTC Sunday. And that's followed up by the CQCW Worldwide Contest on October 26th, or not October, November 26th and 27th. And that runs the same time that I just listed. For those of you who are interested in DX, and I think everybody should be, but that's me, I'm prejudiced. Most of you have some DX and you don't even realize it. So check your logbook of the world and you'll find out that you probably have worked the United States, Hawaii, Alaska, Puerto Rico, Canada, maybe Mexico, and a few more. So you've already got some because all of those count as an entity. Coming up in the fall here, Belize, Malawi, Monaco, Turtles and Calacos, Saba and St. Eustace, Coco, Keeling, Honduras, Papua New Guinea, I can't pronounce that, Djibouti, Thailand, Lesotho, Astral Islands, Palu, Tonga, Tanzania, and St. Helens, coming through till about the mid of November. A good many of those, if you do work the worldwide contests this month, you will probably get these little island ones because they're easy to get during the contest, and a good many of them will logbook of the world for you. I call them fly speck islands, but that's kind of not a deal. But if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have my DXCC because there's so many of them, and they're sometimes easier to get than Europe for sure. And then in December is the last contest of this year, or the one that I'm interested in, is the ARRL 10 meter contest, and that's always a fun one. So other than bragging again about my 13 colonies sweep, clean sweep, I got my certificate today, really nice one, so I'm happy with that. And that's about it, unless anybody has any questions.
This weekend on the 22nd, is the North American Sprint Contest. I have it listed from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Is that saying?
Those sprints are pretty cool. They have a unique exchange if anybody hasn't done one of those. Am I mistaken that for something else?
I haven't done that in a while. I think that's the one where you're required to move off frequency when you get tagged.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
Fun, actually.
yeah.
So,
It's an interesting contest.
well, if you're interested in contacts, again, I recommend the WA7 Bravo November Mock contest site, and it has a nice listing of all the contacts. Also, for DX, look for announced DX. Just type it in Google and it'll go there, and it'll have all the people that have listed with this individual, and has updates and the dates and times, and also sometimes frequencies and modes of operation. So you can see whether it's going to be SSB, CW, digital, FT8, whatever, and how much time they want to spend on it. And so that's a good site to visit for contests.
I just like
Thank
to
you,
add,
Alan.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Scott. You're up.
So yeah, I not this last weekend, but the weekend before, there were four. I think there were 4 QSO parties going on. Pennsylvania, of course, South Dakota, Arizona, and Nevada. So Pennsylvania ran the longest, Paul. I think you guys run it Saturday, and then it seemed like there was a break, and then Sunday. Is that how they do it? Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, but I was testing out a field antenna for actually the Oregon Disaster Medical Team. One of our Anthony would know about this one. One of the Chameleon vertical, just to see. Dan asked me to do that, and so I was able to take that one out and test it out and compare it to a dipole. So actually, you know, I tried to make as many contacts as I could, mostly with Pennsylvania, and so not horrible, not great. Maybe around 10 contacts with the PA QP, which worked out. And I did it both on sideband and CW, so it was mixed. But anyway, it was very active, and I have to also point out, you know, a lot of people don't realize, but POTA is getting more and more popular, and on any given weekend now, you can hear at least 3, maybe 4, maybe more POTA stations that are on the air. So those are easy contacts to make, and they're fun, and they're very short. All you have to do basically is say, you know, 5.9, and or you know, if you're doing CW 5.99, and then come back with your state, and they give you the park number designator, and that's about it. But it's, and you can also, you know, kibitz with them a little bit too if you want to. But just so you know, a lot of people are, you know, I mean, a lot of POTA activations are going on all the time, so you can get involved with that too if you just want to. If you don't want to, or you can't do DX very well, you can certainly get a lot of stateside stations that way too. And nowadays the propagation is quite good. The solar Flex Index is up well above 120, 130 these days. There's an occasional, you know, coronal mass ejection. The sun's very active, or solar flare, which can throw things off, you know, with the with solar storms, but which have been noisy. We've had a few days of that, and it really, you know, even up in 20 meters and even 15 meters, it can be quite noisy sometimes. But you know, in general, it's not bad. So and you know, the band conditions fluctuate pretty strongly, but propagation's been excellent. And so, as Olin was talking about for DX, you know, you got right now. I think this is an excellent time to try to work a lot of DX as much as you can. So any contest where there's going to be DX, like the CQ worldwide contests that are going to be coming up, is a very good opportunity. And also, Olin, I want to add not just the 10-meter contest, which will be great, but there's the 160-meter contest in December, and I'm going to set up a station for that. I out at LC, I can set up easily a 160-meter dipole.
I haven't operated on that. Is that the Stu Perry one?
No, it's not the Stu Perry. It's the ARRL one.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know the date, but it'll be probably first or second weekend, or sorry, second or third weekend in December. Probably the second one. You know, then we got too close to Christmas time, so it'll be.
I might just come out and join you.
Yeah, you know, that's what I was gonna say. Anybody wants to come out there, because I'll have a good antenna for it. I participated last year, and it worked. I mean, I can get the antenna up a little, you know, fairly high, so fairly high off the ground, so maybe about 60 feet up. And that's not too bad for 160 meters. So, you know, unfortunately, we won't have an amplifier though. That's the only problem, and you really can use one on 160. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that.
Okay, that's a great update, Scott. Ron, I mean, he mentioned POTA, and you're not the only one who does POTA activations on here, but you're certainly the one that I talk to the most about this. Anything to add about POTA in this area as far as your experience?
Well, let's see. I've activated my 10th park now, and am making Hungary and Spain has been some regular contacts for me for DX. Especially got one gentleman in Hungary that just watches out for me because I tend to hop around to some different countries or different counties, I'm sorry. And so he's been county hunting, and so he and I do some exchanges, and that's working out very well. But yeah, about every weekend I've been out at least one day activating different parks if I can. You know, it's like yesterday morning was 46 contacts in about an hour and a half. And they're from all over. You can really, and it's kind of fun because you can follow the band as it changes during the day. Most of the time I'm 120 meters. I have activated once on 40 while I was out in Steen Mountain. And you know, it's just been a outstanding experience being able to go out, set up a quick dipole, get on the air. and get a pile up.
That's really cool. I look at it as a field day of one.
Yeah, that's a good way to express it. But
It's a great, I think it's a great asset to our hobby that, the originators of this, this idea and it flourished. It started out with, I think, just national and state parks, and then it just blossomed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because it's international now, and I have started to see some international parks come on and be posted. I really like the ability to check the website and say, hey, who's here? Who can I go try to hear?
Nice.
Well, yeah,
Cool.
Ron, I think more and more people are doing that now because it's more common to hear pileups on these POTUS stations than not. So,
Well, this is good cross band communication, as I like to call it. We're learning a lot by just listening to each other, talking about our experiences, and I think that's a real asset to what we're trying to do here is learn. I did make a mistake. I skipped over some old business here. I'd like to kind of go back to, and that's about the meeting location. I hadn't moved it from the new business from last month yet. I was, I guess, asleep at the wheel. So I did talk to the folks at Tommy's 4th Street Bar and Grill. I talked to Bill. I think you all know Bill from previous meetings. He used to run the place at night. He said they're having trouble staffing and keeping staff. Apparently there's a lot of competition and they're just struggling to keep, day, never mind night staff going. And they said they don't like doing what they said that they were going to do. And that is they're going to charge $100 to rent out the basement room because of liability. They can't just leave it unattended. So they have to have representation down there, which means that even though we're a regular customer, we cannot just go down there and just be well behaved and, whatever. So he says, yeah, sorry, I can't really do that. And he says, I have to actually hire a separate person to come in because I just don't have the staff to support it anymore. And he says, I hope it changes one day, but right now it's what I have to do. He said, however, if you have a smaller venue and you want to do the upstairs room, that is quite doable, and give me a call back if you want to do that. I told him I wasn't ready to do that since I don't know how many people would show up. It holds about, as he calls it, 15 uncomfortably, or maybe 10 to 12 just comfortably. So if we have a smaller group meeting, we could easily do that. I'm thinking that maybe if I have enough information to hold the board meeting or something, I'll probably try to do it there. And I know they have some internet there, right, Anthony? Mike, somebody? Yeah, Wi-Fi, okay. So if we need to bring in remote participants, we could do that too. So this sort of a non-starter as far as, we're not doing $100, and it's not like we're trying to take money out of their pocket. It's they have to pay somebody to come in and staff it. So it's about off the table as far as the large room downstairs right now until situations change. We have a couple of other, I'm going to rapid fire these and see if anybody has any updates or any other ideas. Imagine Coffee. I'm going to skip the outdoor pavilion one because it's getting into cooler weather. The Elks Club, the LBCC, Common Fields might not have a room for us unless we're willing to bundle up. Block 15, Southtown, and Calapooya. Does anybody want to add anything to any of those?
I got a contact at Elks. I need to follow up with them again.
Yeah, same.
Okay, which one is that, Drew?
Elks Club. I got
Elks,
the
got it.
contact for who to reach out to, and I reached out to him once, but I didn't hear anything back. I will follow up.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. And if they need, you can loop me in on a three-way call or whatever. I'm happy to support that.
And Paul, I'll get back to you. I should have done it last week, but on Imagine Coffee, the people I needed to talk to were out for a while, so they're back now, and I will make something happen tomorrow or the next day.
Okay. So I want to add to this as sort of a, does anybody else have anything to add to this? Any of those?
The wife and I talked about it for quite a while. I was going to send you an email, but somehow that got wrapped up in house renovation. But we talked about all kinds of different places, some of which you've already mentioned, but some other ideas were, I don't know what the OSU Radio Club does, but it's possible we might be able to get a spot on OSU to have a meeting. If that, coordinating with their radio club and see, that wouldn't have a restaurant or anything, but it's a place to meet out of the rain. Another one is the school out on Highway 20. That's part of the children's farm home that they've renovated that big school. I don't know what the availability of some room in that would be. I believe the Peacock has an upstairs room. I think Squirrels has some kind of a small area, but I don't know about that. And maybe some of the schools might host us if we had some reason to be there. And there's also the library. I don't know what that would do as far as time frame, but I think they do have some small meeting areas. And then possibly like the Philomath Firehouse or something like that. Or someplace else, since we do have IMCOM members in here, somebody might be able to contact them. There's not a lot of restaurants that have facilities, and some of the ones we talked about would be so expensive we wouldn't even bother to think about it. So that was some of our ideas.
All right, thank you, Olin. I made a list and we'll take a look. Anybody else have anything to add commentary to that? And then I have one final comment on it.
Yeah.
My
so
only
I-
comment is if they would go to bars, then we exclude certain age groups of folks that we may want participating in our meetings,
Mhm.
i.e. Squirrels, I know for sure. Peacock may be upstairs, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Peacock upstairs. Well, one, I think they run stuff up there every night of the week, so I think that'd be a tough sell. And it's not exactly the crowd that we interact with very much. I'm pretty sure the upstairs is 100% minors excluded all the time.
Anthony, I had you in mind when I mentioned the Peacock. I just threw it out there because there's rooms are hard to get around Corvallis.
Yeah, and I know the OSU club at least used to, until right before the pandemic, was meeting in their shack in Snell. And if you think the upstairs room in Tommy's is small, their shack is actually an old dorm room. So I think we would make it even cozier than it already is pretty fast. But yeah, I know there was a group I was with, or I'm still with, but over the years we've actually opted for doing most of our meetings on Zoom, just from the standpoint of it's been hard to find the right overlap of a space that's large enough for the group. And for us, we're only about 8 people, so it wasn't like we're trying to find a huge room, but was also quiet enough for us to actually talk. And so we kind of ended up with Zoom was easier to meet our criteria than it was to find a venue in Corvallis. So,
Well, I mean, that may be an interesting proposal in that maybe we, so that we can feel better about budgeting for paying for someplace, maybe it's like we only have an in-person meeting every other meeting. So we have in-person meetings 6 months out of the year and Zoom for 6 months out of the year. And that way we might be able to feel better about budgeting that money to spend money for a venue.
Also helps with the idea of budgeting money for gas for people that are driving.
Sure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's a great segue, Anna and Anthony. I had the idea because I have a commute now, and because I have a commute, I have gas fill-ups, and because I have time behind the windshield, I have time to think. So if we keep the meeting the way it is today, and try to promote it for others so that, you know, we have more than just the Hollywood Squares here, that would be ideal. And we could just add a social event, which is off of our monthly meeting, but it's a social gathering. People are welcome. It's kind of like Picnic and POTA, only we meet inside and we just have organic conversations, and just meet. And, you know, it's a 2-hour window at a particular place. It can rotate. It could be the same. We don't have to rent a room. We can just say whoever shows up, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be every month. But my club back in PA, they would have a monthly Saturday morning, early Saturday morning breakfast so that it wouldn't interrupt too many people's schedules for whatever they were doing. I don't recommend that we do that here, but they did off, you know, that was one way that they solved it. So so I'm just going to look for a show of hands, just a level of interest. If we keep the Zoom meetings the way they are and just add a random social event, I don't know how often, but certainly not once a month, but certainly more often than we do now. Would that be a good medium, or any other ideas? Yes, Ted.
Just from my standpoint, the Zoom meeting is excellent for doing the minutes while the meeting is versus listening to the meeting twice.
Okay.
So from
Thank
my
you, Ted.
standpoint, I like doing the Zooms and then having a social meeting.
I appreciate that input. I didn't think about it that way. Who else had their hand up?
I mean, I'm all for that, because especially on weeknights, down in Corvallis, that's about an hour commute back home. So from conclusion of meeting to bedtime, that right now it's about
a long night.
it's about a 3-foot commute versus a 30 miles. So
Yeah, I also like it from the perspective of we have a number of people joining us that are further out, because we do PRA services the Pacific Northwest, and we can get a lot more people to join than we would if we just went back to full-time in person. So
I kind of like the idea of an occasional social meeting. I was able to make the Picnic and POTA, but you know, that's a 2-hour plus drive for me. So I'm not going to want to do it every month.
No, I appreciate you making it up here, Paul. And we've kept a door prize here waiting for you. his barbecue tongs, which I will continue to show on a monthly meeting until I get my act together and send it to him. That's good input. Does anybody have any other ideas?
Yeah, I'd be up for
you don't have to belabor it right now, but I'd be looking for ideas like Picnic and POTA that we can get together and do socially. And so keep that in mind when we come up with, you know, at the next meeting.
We do have holidays coming up, and that's kind of been a tradition for us to have
Yep.
a holiday get together.
That is, yeah, that's one of the new items that I was going to bring up, and just a show of hands to see if there's any interest in gathering. So the easy, what do I call it? The easy go forward is to say we're going to do a Christmas or a holiday, near holiday kind of, you know, pick middle of December-ish kind of thing, and do an in-person meeting. We can spend the $100 and go to Tommy's and do that, you know, once as opposed to every month. So that's an idea. I certainly don't want to go through all the effort and have 3 people show up at the same time. I'd certainly want to backstop this with an email out through the Ham Club online to see if there's other people that are interested that aren't on this call. Any thoughts?
I'll second that.
So I'm just looking at the third Thursday in December, and oops, wrong month. That's the 19th. It's not too close, but it's not too far either. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, third Monday. I'm sorry. I meant to say third Monday, not third Thursday. I can inquire, and I can put out an email to say how much interest is there. And if I get if I get 15 people, I think that's a reasonable amount, because if 15 say yes, then 10 are going to show. And that's just, just basic rules. I'd be willing to do that as a club event. Anybody agree, disagree?
I think
I'm
that's
seeing
great.
some thumbs up over here. Okay, I will take that action, and I will find out and send out an email and see if there's interest in the 19th of December to hold a PRA holiday get together. All right, not to belabor this new stuff. Thank you for your patience. There's a lot that's going on here. And so I'm going to put a kibosh on the meeting locations for now until we feel that we really need to have one. But the easy path is 19th December at Tommy's. I will put a hold on it with Bill and see if he can at least hold it. And then until I get, some reasonable responses back. Okay, great. One other thing. Okay, so I'm starting to collect. I just started this like literally 2 days ago. I've talked to several people in the club, some of which who are on the screen right now. Thank you for your input. I would like to collect all of the club memorabilia in the sense of, how many, we have some website presence or lack thereof. We've got EHAM net logins. We've got LOTW. We've got a bunch of different things. We have certain things. I even have like things that I talked to Andy about today about we have a PayPal account, and not all of this would become, readily available to everybody. But certainly all of this stuff needs to be collected and put into what I call a club vault. And so if anybody knows of anything that needs to be collected and put in that place, please send it to me directly. I've already got some things from Vaughn from back in the day that I will collect and put in here as soon as I find out where I put it. It's a very safe place. And and I really want to collect it and put it in there so that we have some failover, right? We don't want to just have, oh, well, Fred used to do this and now Fred's not available and now we don't know what to do, right? I don't want to have that. This club belongs to everybody. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any other new business they'd like to talk about?
One thought, and not to put Scott on the spot yet, but in theory, Aries is trying to come up with a license class and exam session in the nearest future. So stay tuned. When dates will be circulated when they're decided upon.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, Anthony. I would like to try to do the class probably in early November at this point, maybe the first weekend in November, right after Halloween. So that I have to, I think finalize things with Don Reed who's the coordinator for Aries. And then I guess we'll probably have it out at the Sunset Building, as it's always been. And it'll just be a weekend course. So if you know anybody who is interested in obtaining a tech, going for a class and getting their tech license, and they live in this area, let them know that there will be a class coming up within the next few weeks. And we'll try to get that advertised as soon as we fix a date.
Yeah, as soon as you can get that out there, Scott, this takes a little bit of planning on people's parts.
Right.
And feel free to send it to me and I'll send it out through the reflector on wherever, well, you can do it too. You can send it on
Sure.
the PRA reflector,
But since I like teaching, I was thinking, yeah, you're right, Paul. It is, it may not give a lot of people a lot of time, a lot of notice, and so they unless they're very spontaneous, they may not be. They may say, yeah, I'd like to take a class, but it's like too soon, or I didn't get enough notice that there was going to be one, so I didn't plan for that week, or I have other things going on that particular weekend. So I would definitely do another one in January, because I'll have to get my feet wet with the first one, because I've never done a class, a tech class in a single weekend. It starts Friday, and they take the test on Sunday. I've never done that before. I've usually stretched it out over a couple of weekends to give people time to, absorb the materials, so to speak. But anyway, it'll be a new experience, because John Stanley, who passed away a few years ago, used to do this class for years, and he had it dialed in. He had it down perfect to teach all the material in just basically a day and a half. And I've never done that, so it's to me it's very, very compact or compressed. So anyway, but yeah, I would definitely want to do it again in January. So that'll be another option, and probably another one in the spring, most likely.
Any other new topic? Thank you, Anthony and Scott. Appreciate that. That's good cross communication. Any other new items? So I'll put out a teaser for maybe in the spring. I think I'd like to try a Willamette Valley wide 2-meter contest. I think I'd like to expand and talk to other leaders of other ham clubs up and down the valley from Eugene all the way through Salem and beyond, to try to get a little bit more, see if there's more interest in us doing not just a one club sponsored 2-meter contest, but to just light up the valley night, so to speak, with RF. I don't know if there's any interest. I'll put something together before the new year, and I'll try to run it by the club and see if they want to participate, because we can't kind of lead the effort and then not show up, right? So if there's interest, I'm happy to work with other leaders of other groups within the valley, and it could be a lot of fun, and we get to meet a lot more people. So anyway, that's not to be, that's just, throwing out some ideas. This is what happens when I drive to work and it takes 30 minutes and I think of all these things. So you can blame it on my work. All right, great. Well, we are compliant with time. Does anybody have any last minute items before we kind of switch over and switch to our educational portion of the meeting?
I have one little tidbit. So doing the search and rescue thing, I have for a number of years tried to find ways of making radios that are invariably manufactured in tactical matte black more visible when dropped in the woods. And one of the problems I found is most of the reflective tape is fairly brittle and tends to peel off easier. And so far I've had some pretty good luck with so 3M, if I can get it to come up, makes a vinyl tape. It's not reflective, but I've had pretty good luck with using that to secure the loose ends of the reflective tape on radios to keep the reflectiveness on it. So, and it even works on the if it gets to show up on the antenna.
That's good. That's real field battle tested there, Anthony. Thank you. Okay, hearing nothing. Going once.
I have to turn into a pumpkin. It's late here and I have to work in the morning. So we'll see you guys
All right,
later.
Anna.
Okay.
you.
Take care, Anna.
All right, we'll take a pause here and let Mike set up. Mike's gonna give us a training topic. Is this the one on SWR, Mike? Okay. So if you would, please mute your mics if you haven't already, and give Mike the floor. Mike the mic. That was a really bad joke. And let him go ahead and educate us on that. And please, I, as well as Mike and others, appreciate questions because it's probably the ones that we all want to ask anyway. So take it away.